Hello everyone, this is the third episode of this series where I'm building an app from scratch to production ready. Over the past few days, as you can see, I haven't touched the beautiful UI of the homepage, but instead I've been working on the dashboard and its features. Of course, I use ShadCN, which I love for its minimum style. There's also dark mode, which we implemented in the previous episode. In my mind, as we'll see later, this app has a free plan and a pro plan. Last step would be implementing Stripe or Lemon Squeezy for payments. Let's start with the CV upload feature, which comes with a nice progress bar on top of it. User confirms the upload and a fake API call to OpenAI is made. Right now, these are just mock hard-coded data simulating a fake API call. Here we have the summary of the extracted data from the CV. User can decide whether to edit something or confirm and start searching for compatible jobs. Once the search is complete, user is redirected to the reports route, which contains a list of job reports, essentially previous job searches. Inside each report, there will be a list of related job postings. Job postings include a match score, which is visible only for the first two listings in the free plan. Each posting contains all the necessary information, including a link to apply for the job. Finally, we have the account section, where users can see an overview of their current plan, upgrade to Pro, and even delete their account, which is already fully functional. After finishing the dashboard UI, I started thinking about the structure and design of my DB. So I made a draft using Eraser.io, a tool I found really useful for organizing my projects, as you saw in the first episode. These are the models I plan to use for the DB. Of course, as the app grows, I might need to make some adjustments, but the core structure will remain the same, not too complex. As you can see, the user CV file is not stored in the database. It was time to start to set up the database, so I logged into Supabase and created a new project. For creating tables, policies, and helper function, I always use the SQL editor, and with the help of Cloud AI, I wrote this SQL snippet to handle table creation, access policies, and an essential function needed to the integration with Clerk, which we'll see in a moment. You can find the SQL code in the GitHub repo in the description. Now it's time to connect Clerk with Supabase. To start, I quickly went to the Clerk website, deleted all existing users to ensure a clean test later, and then navigated to Configure, JWT templates, new template, Supabase. Now I needed to paste the signing key. Where do I find it? I had to go back to Supabase, open Settings, Data API, copy the JWT secret and paste it into Clerk. After that, I saved the configuration. But we're not done yet. Still on the Clerk website, I went to Webhooks and created a new endpoint. Now I needed to paste our URL. But since we're still in development, what should we use? Obviously, we can use localhost, So we use a tool like Ngrok to create a temporary public URL. I won't go too deep into how to install or configure Ngrok because documentation is already very clear and there are plenty of tutorials on YouTube. But if you want a more detailed walkthrough, let me know and I can cover it in a future video. From my terminal, I started the connection between my local environment and Ngrok provided URL, which became my endpoint. I copied this URL into Clerk, followed by /API/Webhooks. Then I wrote a description and subscribed to the necessary events. Once done, I clicked create and my webhook was ready. I then had to save the sign-in secret in my .env file along with my Supabase database connection details, which can also be found under Supabase, project settings, data API. After finishing the .env file, I installed a couple of packages, Swix for handling webhooks and Supabase to interact with the DB. At this point, I had to create the clients and then write the actual webhook route. For this part, I would say 90% of the code comes straight from official documentation. And now it's time to test. I logged in with GitHub, checked my Supabase table and boom, my new created user appeared in the database. Everything worked. Now let's try deleting the user from the Clerk dashboard and see if the corresponding row is removed from the database. Yep, we successfully connected Clerk to Supabase using Webhooks. Finally, I committed and pushed everything to GitHub, and that's it. In the next episode, we finally dive into Python and Fast API. See you next time.